Welcome back to Worldview. Now, joining us again today on the program is Liz Reitzig. She's co-founder of the Farm Food Freedom Coalition and Grass-Fed on the Hill Farm Buying Club. Now, those of you who remember, about a week or so ago, we talked about the issue of a trial starting in Sauk County Courthouse. Well, that trial is underway, and it's against a local dairy farmer there by the name of Vernon Herschberger, who's charged with 4 criminal misdemeanors that could land this husband and father in county jail for up to 30 months or with fines of over $10,000. We talked a little bit about Wisconsin and their whole Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection and how they're targeting Herschberger for supplying a private buying club with fresh milk and other products. And we're looking at Governor Scott Walker wading into a new fight that he cannot afford to be into. Liz, welcome back to Worldview.
Hi, Dennis.
Great to have you. I know our connection is not the best, so we'll do the best we can with it. My understanding is that you're very close to the courthouse and you've been traveling and going back and forth. So give us a little bit of an update on where this case is, and for those who didn't see the first segment, what this case is about.
Well, what this case is really about is whether or not a peaceful man is being criminalized for feeding his community. Now, the state has tried to make the focus be on whether or not he's gotten specific licenses for specific activities. But really the bigger issue is, do we need licenses to live our peaceful lives? Do we need to apply for government permission to live peacefully and engage within our community? So that's kind of the bigger question that's being addressed in this trial. What we've seen so far, we're on day 3 right now.
Day 3, okay.
And day 3, and it's been completely monopolized by the prosecution. We're still only on, I think, the second witness, and it's the witness for the prosecution, and they're wasting time. I mean, there's no good way to put it. They're just wasting time. They're going into excruciating detail on things that are not really showing anything. They're going through pages and pages and pages asking the same question over and over. Now the defense has just this afternoon, started the cross-examination of the second witness, and some things are coming out now.
And how many this trial, I think, was originally scheduled for just 5 days, was it not?
It was scheduled for 5 days.
For 5 days. And where are we now? Are we likely going to exceed that?
Well, this is Wednesday, so we had Monday. Monday morning was jury selection, and then we had the one witness the prosecution called, and then Tuesday was that same witness again. The defense got to cross-examine, and then they called the second witness, and then today the second witness was still on, and now the defense is cross-examining. But what happens is there's a lot of sending the jury out of the room and the prosecution and the defense arguing over whether or not certain things can be included in the evidence. So, for example, the prosecution has been wanting to include certain documents, but only portions of documents. So they want to include the holding order, but only page 1 of the holding order. And so the defense is saying, well, Your Honor, we can include these pieces of evidence, but we have to include the whole evidence. And the prosecution is objecting to that, and the judge is basically siding with the prosecution on everything. And in addition, earlier on in a pretrial hearing, the judge ruled that no mention could be made of the term raw milk. So here we are having this trial where Vernon is being charged with charges relating to milking cows without a permit and distributing this milk to his community, and they're not allowed to use the term raw milk.
Well, that seems a bit strange. And I was looking at your Facebook page, which you might want to let our viewers know what the address is for that. It's facebook.com/.
The Facebook page is Farm Food Freedom, we are updating regularly throughout the day.
Yeah.
And we're also live streaming it. So if anybody's interested, they can hear what's actually happening in the courtroom as it happens. And that's happening at justin.tv/Farm Food Freedom.
Great. Justin.tv/Farm Food Freedom. We're speaking with Liz Reitzig of the Farm Food Coalition. Now, Liz, there was you mentioned the excruciating level of detail. I remember reading one of the posts there, and it looked as though it were 2 members of the defense team that were sort of asking the question, I mean, what difference does it make that the prosecution went in and had to put tape over refrigerators and things of that sort. I mean, what's actually, you say they're trying to stall and delay. What purpose comes out of stalling and delaying here?
Well, I'm not an attorney. I can't speak to that directly. Just from an observer's point of view, I think that what they're trying to do is just delay, so the defendant doesn't really have time to call their witnesses. And, ultimately, I think it's up to Vernon whether or not they do call all the witnesses that they've scheduled. But, I mean, it's, he's a good guy. He doesn't want people to stay away from their families for so long. And I hope he does stick with it, but I also hope that the prosecution stops trying to delay this.
So this trial, one way or the other, will end on Friday, then, is what you're telling me?
I'm sorry?
This trial, one way or the other, will come to a close on Friday?
My understanding of it is that if the defense chooses not to call some of the witnesses who may not have gone already, then it will come to a close on Friday. If they are insistent on having the witnesses testify, then my understanding is the trial will go longer.
Longer into next week, then?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because it sounded like, I know when we first talked in our first interview, that it would end after 5 days, or then have to be rescheduled and everybody brought back at a later date. But that's good to hear that it'll continue. Well, Liz, we'll be watching this with great interest, and obviously, there's such a huge stake here because you're talking, big food essentially having an opportunity to take over an entire branch, the dairy branch, and basically shut out any competitor if this goes in favor, as well as a very nice guy, this farmer, finding himself, in prison for an extended period of time. Is this still, in your opinion, a big test case?
I'm sorry?
Is this still, in your opinion, a major test case?
Yes, it is a major test case. I do believe it is because, Wisconsin and probably through federal cooperatives, they're pouring so much money into this. We have, sitting on the prosecution team are four attorneys from the Department of Justice and from DATCP. I mean, they are really pouring a lot of effort into this. And it's very clear that one way or another, they are going to pursue this past this trial. They're going to pursue it. And so, what it comes down to is the mentality, the ideology of the people involved. Do we have to get licenses and permits to live our peaceful lives?
Well, it's fascinating stuff as always, Liz. Thank you for joining us again, and we'll talk to you again towards the end of the week or as soon as we know the resolution of this trial one way or the other.
Great. Thank you so much, Dennis.
We've been speaking with Liz Reitzig of the Farm Food Freedom Coalition. You can read more about the coalition's work at www.farmfoodfreedom.org, and you can follow Liz on Twitter at farmfoodfreedom. That's one word, Farm Food Freedom. Thanks for joining us. You're watching Worldview. Stay right here.